with the session?
Yes, masters, any questions with regard to yesterday's beautiful discussion, please do. If you have it, we can take up now, or else we'll take towards the end of the session. Just raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, yeah. I think
Yeah.
take after the session.
Yeah. So let us continue. We were in the first law. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. Sarvamangal Mangalde Varenyam Vardam Shubham Narayane Namaskritya Sarvakarma Nikar. Yeah, we had seen the first law that all beings exist at different levels of consciousness, and for every level of consciousness that we exist in, there is a definite and fixed degree of happiness that we can experience. So consciousness also, we had explained yesterday what is consciousness. So basically everybody is conscious of something. Okay, so right now you're conscious of the knowledge I'm sharing. You're conscious of what you see here, all 5 perceptions you are conscious of. But we are not conscious of consciousness itself. That is what yesterday a bit of discussion we had done. It is like the farmer is working all his life for earning money, making sure that he survives, his family survives, he's protecting his family. But he does not, he's so busy in life that he does not wait and take some time out to see the source of this beautiful creation. He does not see upward, he does not see the sun itself, does not want to investigate the sun, because he feels it is impractical. What is the use seeing the sun? What will I get? This is what our understanding of life also is. So we don't wait and try to see that where exactly is the source of happiness. Can I experience it in a more direct way? We try to take such a huge path for happiness, and naturally when we take such paths, there are consequences involved. There are side effects that are involved in experiencing happiness in indirect way, like experiencing happiness through materials, objects, food, sleep, sex, relationships. All this will take a toll, and we think that yes, I may experience happiness in this way, but ultimately it is making you more restless. So that if we understand, that is where Viveka lies. That is where you should choose a path. Which path you want to choose? Path of pleasantness, or that involves immediate gratification, or the right path, the right of beneficial path. So that is where the Kathopanishad, Yama advises Nachiketa on what path you should choose. So again, coming back to the law. So same, even though like we experience, saints have discovered that each level that we live in, that is, you exist, it is a universe itself. Okay, now the divisions were done by Shankaracharya, they are called levels, but don't think that they are some kind of small levels. They are like universes. We exist in a particular level. Suppose a material universe, we exist there for janmas. Okay, janmas and janmas we can exist. It is not such an easy thing that I show in a diagram and you can transcend it. It is not as simple as it looks. So people exist in this usually material and mental level. We fluctuate between these two levels like one pendulum. So almost 95% of human population. Some 5% may reach this one, and very, very, very few in a particular yuga, 1 or 2 are liberated. But does that mean that, oh, it is so difficult, I should never strive for? That is not the point that I want to make here. The point here is each level of existence that you are has many sub levels also. It is not just so simple that I write just there is just food, uh, power, name and fame, sex, some meaning. Then there is truth, beauty, goodness, which can be manifested in art, sciences, and humanities. It's not such an easy thing that I write these words and we can easily experience this and just move on to the next level. So until we understand and resolve and make peace with each particular level of consciousness, then only it is easy to transcend to the next level of consciousness. So then you may ask, then how come people skip it? Like sannyasis, they just skip it. They skip artha and kama and dharma, and directly they're trying for moksha. It's not that they skip it. Usually you should understand it. They have done it in their previous lives. So this previous life concept also is, many people don't agree on this, that there is something called as past life and all. Usually it is only these Oriental religions that accept past life, Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism. If you even don't want to agree on that point that what guarantee is there after death, that there is a life after that, all these things, it is very simple. Like it is just like today you wake up, don't you feel the consequences of your actions yesterday have influenced today's level of understanding, level of consciousness, level of it is just like that, just like waking up and getting up. It is as simple as that. Don't try to complicate next life. Okay, it is just like sleeping and next day getting up with a different body, with a different nose, with a different face and all. Okay, so yesterday we saw 5 koshas. 5 koshas are also just little more subdivisions of material body, mental body, and spiritual body. So as I said, each level has enough functions. Each level has their own rules, their own experience, their own level of happiness. Okay. So when you identify your ego that I am this, I am body, then you're limited to that particular objects you encounter at that particular level. You're limited to that particular experiences, and you are limited to that particular happiness. Okay, and happiness and dukkha, both you can say. So same thing, yesterday's diagram that I must have showed you a Russian doll. Same thing, instead of 3 Russian dolls, think there are 5 Russian dolls, one within each. So the core is your spiritual body, that is Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. Then mental body, that is your Manomaya Kosha, your mind function, samskaras. Everything exists here. Your subconscious also exists here. Your unconsciousness also exists here. Pranamaya Kosha is in between. Okay, it is, you can't say that it comes in physical body and you can't say it comes in mental body. Prana is required even for thinking. Prana is even required for your autonomous nervous system. For both, energy is required. Okay. So coming to the continuation of yesterday's understanding of 2 particular entities, that is you as a jiva and universe. So there is a connection between you and universe. So you can say it as microcosm, macrocosm. In Sanskrit, it is called, for jiva, that is a human being, it is called Veshti, and for this macrocosm, that is cosmic being, it is called a samasti. Okay, so they are based on the same structure. The plan is very similar. Okay, we usually throttle between the material plane, mental plane, and spiritual plane. Spiritual plane we usually don't throttle because we have not experienced it. Otherwise we would have not discussed this. We usually throttle between material plane and mental plane. Material plane in the sense like, okay, basically how is this body of ours made? From where has it originated? It has originated from the materials outside, from food outside. Uh, so all these things come into account. Where is your knowledge coming from? Knowledge also is coming from through knowledge transfers. Right now you're getting so-called spiritual knowledge through universe only, through me only, like that it is. So similarly, as I had told, Vishwa means your uh, individual aspect, materially individual aspect, a human being's material aspect, your body, what you can perceive by your five senses. Okay. So Virat is basically all your five elements, um, so-called what you see, Nama Rupa, all anything that you can perceive. Okay. Next, Tejasa is our mental body, your concepts, your ideas, what you have understood, how you interpret the world, what are your experiences, what are your instincts, what are your emotions. All these things come into that picture. Hiranyagarbha is basically everything is stacked there. Okay. It is basically everything is stacked there. Okay. It is like a storage, you can say. And according to your particular level of understanding, you attract those particular thoughts. It's like law of resonance. According to your vibration, certain vibrations come to you. You need to open up. So right now, when you are vibrating at a particular understanding, naturally such people come and talk to you. Naturally such ideas you attract. Naturally such circumstances you are placed in. It happens. It happens. You must have experienced this in your own life. It is just like where, see, I wanted to learn about spirituality, so naturally I ended up in a monastery. I stumbled, but whatever, however I may have come here, but that is the environment I got. Similarly, if you are interested in medical sciences, usually your friend circles you must have seen, they're doctors or they are medical related fields. So it's like that. We get that. That is how the law of attraction also works. So prajna is the spiritual, individual spiritual entity. Similarly, uh, the corresponding cosmic entity is Ishvara, or you can even say just a spiritual entity, a more cosmic spiritual entity. So Annamaya, material level. So what is the happiness that you experience when you live at this, when you exist at this particular level, when your experiences are only limited to this particular level? So the happiness is called Vishya Sukha, material happiness you experience. So where do you get this happiness? From the corresponding cosmic material level, that is Virat. So food you get, sleep, sex, power, name and fame, all these things, from where are you getting? You're getting from the corresponding material level, the brown level, the brown color level. Okay. So how does it manifest? How does it manifest in you? It manifests in health, beauty, skills in sport, play, all these things. This is how you are experiencing this. So how can you experience this in the most uh, the optimal level, the in the fullest level at that particular limit? So by holistic health, many things, each topic is a different topic, that is different. It takes holistic health only, I can speak for about a class. So that is not what we are interested, that I'm going to talk about. Basically, how it is by holistic health, but how it manifests, it is like this light of Atman itself. From just one second. Yeah. So this light of Atman itself is manifesting. It is just, don't think that it is just stuck there. Okay. In every level, as I said it to you, how the process of happiness is, the light itself manifests. It pervades all the levels and it shines on your material level. But the material level is gross. Okay, that is why you're not able to experience its full opulence, its full glory. Okay, but it does shine in health, beauty, skills, and sports. Okay. Similarly, what pranamaya, that is your next level of happiness, of existence itself. So when you say existence, all the three things come into picture. Your consciousness, that is your experiences in that particular level, that is you are conscious of. What are you conscious of here? You're usually conscious of these three things: love, friendship, arts, play. This, and what is the sukha, that when you're conscious of it, the sukha, that happiness what you get when you live in that particular level, is priti sukha. Okay, all your relationships, relationship with your children, your family, your relatives, with humanity itself, you experience this kind of happiness. Okay, so social relationships, ecological awareness comes. You want to do something for the plants, trees, the animals, things like that. Nature mysticism comes into picture. So this is how happiness manifests, okay, in all these particular aspects when we exist at that particular level. What do I mean by exist is basically you're filled only with that particular knowledge only. You don't know anything more than that. Okay, you're limited by just material sciences, little energy sciences, like that. So how do you manifest? What is the process? Again, this is a topic which needs a lot of discussion. Service as a way of life. Here I said holistic health. If you want to experience the full happiness of Vishya Sukha to its maximum potential. Similarly, when you accept service as a way of life, that is service basically why we usually recommend karma yoga. All whenever you speak to any spiritual advanced soul, they say do some selfless service. वो क्यों बोलते हैं ऐसा selfless service करो, selfless service करो? Basically they tell this. There are many reasons. A few reasons I'll tell. See, only in work you will come to know your defects. If you don't work, you will never come to know what defects I have. Only when you are practically working, and you are little introspective, we understand how how exactly I react to particular situations, particular circumstances, particular objects, people. Then you can first recognize, you can at least recognize you have some kind of defect. Otherwise, we live in planes where we feel that we are perfect, or some kind of ignorance that like we glorify this sentence, better to be ignorant than ignorance is bliss. That's what we say. But ignorance is not bliss. Never try to glorify it. So at least we recognize. When you recognize only, there is acceptance. When you accept, then only there is you'll want to find the remedy. Okay, then you will try to find the cause. Then only you'll be able to overcome your defect. Okay, that is why they say work. Second reason why they say work is because, especially selfless work, even if you work without selflessness, but working is important basically. So you're basically, when you work without expectation, your ego gets crushed. Okay, it is not that getting crushed is important. Basically it gets matured. You start to understand there is something more to life than just your inflated ego. There are many reasons later I may discuss. So similarly, manomaya, that is your next level, the green color circle that you see. So here again, as I said, the corresponding cosmic level is your Hiranyagarbha, that is your mental level. There exists, okay? You may not see this, but it exists, okay? Just because we don't know it, that doesn't mean that it does not exist. People have seen it, they have experienced it, they have documented it. That is how we should understand it, okay? So what all is there in that particular level? So all the laws, cosmic laws are there. All your blueprint of the entire universe is there. Everything exists there. It's not that if Newton would not discover gravitational force, it would not exist. It is there. You have discovered it. Good for you. That's all. So all pure knowledge. So basically, how uh, where do we get the knowledge of science? Where do you get the knowledge of arts? Where do you get the knowledge of humanities from? You do get it from that particular Hiranyagarbha itself. That is, you may say that it is coming through your colleges, but understand that college itself is a part of Hiranyagarbha. Okay. Then devotion to God, this selfless service. So it manifests in truth, goodness, beauty. So basically, this is what categorical imperative they say in Kant, in Western philosophy. So what is a happiness? So Bauddhika Sukha, intellectual joy, research. So this is the joy that you experience if you live in that particular level. You experience joy of lower devotion. You experience the joy of selfless service. So you experience a joy of understanding. Right now, we are experiencing some joy of this particular level because we are living in a mental plane right now. So we usually, human beings, a normal human being, a lay person, including me, we usually fluctuate between these three levels, okay? A material, vital, and mental level, okay? Next comes your Vijnanamaya Kosha, your intuitional level of higher consciousness. So here, so previously also, how do you get this Bauddhika Sukha is by Shravana and Manana. What is Shravana and Manana? So Shravana means you get something. Manana means you make it your own, practical. You think about it and try to understand its practical benefits, okay? Basically, right now, all this knowledge is called Shravana that you're listening to. Manana means if you really go back, try to understand it and put it into practice, try to understand, personalize this knowledge. So mature person has a philosophy in his life. He just doesn't live vaguely. He has his own philosophy. Everybody has a path, okay? There's no fixed path. It is good to join a particular path, understand it, but later we need to transcend that particular path and form your own path, okay? As many paths, they say, as many religions, so many paths. Like all these sentences you must have heard. So each person has his own path. How do you recognize that this is my path? So that is a big question. Basically, three prerequisites are there if you want to know that ye mera path hai. The first prerequisite is basically you need to understand that the path should be simple for you. ठीक है? वो तुमको थोड़ा easy रहना है. You should be able to understand it. Okay. Second one, that path you should be able to practice it constantly. ठीक है? You should not find it difficult to practice it constantly. Third, how do you understand that this is my path? So repeatedly, without any kind of obstacles, you should be able to practice it. Okay. So when these three prerequisites become viable and you recognize it, try to do that. You will slowly understand that ye mera path hai, and continue in that, and slowly other paths also come and open up, and slowly you will start understanding deeper and deeper levels of existence, consciousness, and bliss. So similarly, the third or fourth, you can say, level of being, your consciousness is intuitional level, that is your Vijnanamaya Kosha. So here there is no corresponding cosmic level. It is basically an individual aspect only. So this is where we come very close to your Pratyekatman, or the spiritual entity within a human being. Okay, this is called self-realization. Here, see, a faculty develops. Okay, a different faculty it is. See, if you don't have eyes, is a faculty. If you want to see the beautiful world, experience this beautiful world, you need to have a faculty called eyes. Okay. Similarly, if you want to experience that inner spirit, you need to have a faculty called buddhi. Okay. You need to have a faculty called dhriti. Dhriti is not icha. Icha is a will that is bound by your desires. Dhriti is a free will. It has freed itself from your lower compulsive emotional life, and it is ready to be directed to higher levels of consciousness. So these new faculties develop, they just develop. Don't ask me how they develop. How they develop is, I said, if you have practiced holistic health, service as a way of life, Shravana and Manana, Nididhyasana, if you have done your meditations, if you have done your upasana, if you have done your prayer, it does develop. That is why we need to, that is why even Gayatri mantra is prescribed. Gayatri, it awakens that buddhi in you. Okay, it is a faculty, trust me, it is a faculty of its own. It is like you'll be surprised that I have it. Okay, so that particular faculty develops, and you'll be able to have an intuitional understanding. It is that you are very close to the ocean, you're able to hear the noise of the beautiful sound of the ocean. Okay, but you have not seen the ocean, or you have not gone and had a dip in the ocean, but you have come very close to that part. Okay, you're very close. If you have come to Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is your buddhi, your understanding. Okay, so next comes, so what is a joy? When you experience, you understand the consequence. If you have come there, understand that you have controlled your senses. See, basically it is like, think it as the diagram of atoms, and of an atom, like nucleus is there, electrons are revolving around it. If one particular electron wants to jump to the next particular shell, it should give away some energy, then only it can jump to the next higher orbit. So it's like that. If you go on spending too much energy uh, in outer levels, in your material level, in your energy vital level, biological level, or in your mental level, you will not have energy to go to the next higher orbit. Okay, so that is why they say conserve your energy. Don't use your energy in useless activities in life. We usually spend it in all, I said, food, sex, power, name and fame, some meaning, friendship, art. Okay, it's good, but understand you need to conserve your energy if you want to go to the next higher level of consciousness. That is why sannyasa, why it is prescribed. We don't waste our energy in lower, in any kind of human relationships. That is why renunciation, we renounce these lower levels of existence to attain something higher. Higher in the sense, again I said, how do you judge that this is higher? You should judge it basically on the happiness that you are experiencing. Is it long lasting or is it short lived? That is how you judge it. So when you're, see, Vijnanamaya Kosha, you're not dependent on any kind of knowledge, on any kind of science, humanities, arts, people, devotions to gods, any kind of music, any kind of art, friendship, relationships, play, sex, power, food. You're not dependent itself. It is a intrinsic happiness. You get it if you have controlled your senses. As simple as that. That is why it's called Trishna Kshaya Sukha. Trishna means desires itself has gone. You're free. Okay. So joy of freedom from desires and impurities. Again, how does it manifest? How does it manifest? It manifests in spiritual aspiration. Then you will start feeling that, oh, I want this still greater joy. Okay. Then you start practicing your karma yoga, 3 yogas, whatever different kinds of yogas are there. Basically, they have divided into 3 yogas, but understand that there are many yogas. So you can do your karma yoga, you can do your jnana, you can do your bhakti. Basically, two there are bhakti and jnana only. Next is the prajna, that is your individual spiritual level. cosmic spiritual level is Ishvara, your cosmic counterpart. So all these, as I said, they are interconnected. Okay, where do you see your body is very much connected to the outside world. Don't think that I'm separate or something. Your mental life also is connected with Hiranyagarbha. Your so-called spirit, we are also part of that bigger entity called Brahman or Paramatman. So that is the Anandamaya, blissful level. That is your, then comes the inner self. See, this blissful level also is called as causal level also. Usually we see Annamaya is your waking state, you can say it. Manomaya is your dream state, and this so-called Anandamaya is your sleep state. In sleep, we do experience this kind of happiness, but we are not conscious of it. There is a level of ignorance there also. But in the end, if you have come to this level, understand there is just a thin glass that is just blocking you or limiting you to experience your real nature. That is when you have experienced your real nature, that is called Pratyagatman or Atman. That is the first genuine spiritual experience of a human being. It's the first genuine experience of a human being. Okay. Then next comes your Ishwarananda, Brahmananda. How do you get it? By Parabhakti, Paragyana. All these things come. But again, that is a huge discussion by itself. Let us at least our basic goal, proximate goal, even though the ultimate goal is Brahmananda, Ishwarananda, where the entire individuality aspect, your ego itself just disappears, or it just expands to it, or it just dissolves in Brahmananda. But that is, may call that is the ultimate goal, the proximate goal, that is our immediate goal should be always to experience that Pratyagatman, because it is very easy to hold to a subjective experience. Okay, that is why Vipassana has become very famous in Buddhism. Also, it was borrowed from Kenopanishad, again, Pratibodha technique it was called in Kenopanishad. So that is why this witnessing your body, witnessing your breath, witnessing your mind, what you people do in your meditation sessions, there it comes into your picture. By nature, you are witness. See, why we tell that consciousness is an independent entity. See, it is very important to develop an impersonal attitude in life. We can't go on getting attached to everything that we come into contact with. When we go on getting attached, we become dependent on it. And when that particular object or that particular experience dwindles, which by nature it should dwindle. Okay, you can't expect it to be permanent. Then you experience misery. So by nature, you are independent. By nature, you are detached. Why not accept it? By nature, you are potentially a spirit, you are potentially divine. But because of our ignorance, because of our wrong understandings in life, because of deluded understanding, immature understanding, we feel that we are this body, mind, our emotions, all these things we have got strongly identified with it. Or you are a lion. All you have to do is stop identifying yourself as a sheep. That's what. Stop identifying yourself with material happiness, with material pleasures, with material experiences, with mental experience. It is good, okay, for practical life. Okay, I am a doctor. Of course, you need to be associated with your mental knowledge to deliver some kind of service to the society. Wonderful. But that is not all of you. That is not the whole of you. You are something higher than that also. After finishing the work, try to seek this higher forms of happiness. So, because this is where fulfillment lies. So just putting these things in words so that you can go back to it. In the gross sensualist, that is a sense-bound person, this I, when you say I, your identity I'm talking about, who do you say you are, is wholly identified with the first two sheets, and his happiness is only sense pleasure derived from the contact of senses and external objects. You are highly identified with Annamaya and Pranamaya. In the intellectual man, if you say I am a research scientist, I am a person of arts, humanities, or any particular science, you're a PhD, you're basically a person who loves being in that intellectual level. Okay, nothing wrong in it. You're mostly identified with the mental sheath, though once in a while he slips down to lower planes. See, this also you must have experienced. See, even though you say I'm an artist and all those things, see, the most artists live a flamboyant life, a bohemian life. It happens. It is not easy to live even at high planes. The high, it is, you fall back. Okay, it happens. It is, I'm just telling a practical observation. uh, they, even though you are experiencing this aesthetic detachment in arts, in your music, in your particular sciences, even you are not able to hold your level at that high planes. You fall back to your uh, annamaya pranapaya planes also. It's difficult, but by practice you will be able to sustain at higher levels of existence. So spiritual life begins only when one consciously tries to shift one center of consciousness, or I, to the level of Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is your intellectual level. So not intellectual, your uh, it is intuitional level, okay, of higher level of consciousness. You get an intuition, you get a peep into your real nature. That is the level where you stay. So there is where you start feeling, yes, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind. These are just some kind of tools that I can use it to interact with this beautiful world. But you feel like there is where you stop being a raw coconut, green coconut. You start becoming ripe. The inner shell starts separating from the strong outer shell. So the experience of each sheets are not lost, but are recorded in it in the form of latent impressions called samskaras. Whatever you experience in your Annamaya, your power, your name and fame, your sleep, your sex, your food, whatever you have experienced in Nama Rupa, they are impressed in your mind, okay, in your subconscious mind or your unconscious mind or your conscious mind, does not matter. You can't escape these impressions, okay? That is what you study in Patanjali. They're called karma bijas, bhogavasanas, and all these things. Happiness related to that particular object is impressed in your mind, and it comes in the form of memories. Then again, when the memory comes, you want to experience the same happiness. Then again, you go to the object. Then again, the memory becomes deeper. Then again, the memory becomes deeper. Then again, we are stuck in this loop. This is what happens. Since we find a great variety in human temperaments and a corresponding variation in personal experiences, we may regard each kosha, each level of existence or consciousness, as consisting of several sublayers or sublevels also. Okay. It is owing to the multiplicity of levels of consciousness that human life appears so complex, and each individual seems to live in several worlds within worlds. So as I said, depending on your samskaras, depending on your experiences, depending, see, if you have never been loved in your life, in your basically childhood, it is difficult to love, okay, people. If you have been abused, or if you have been rejected by the opposite sex, same sex, many people face these difficulties. So whatever your experiences, that is how you start interpreting this world. That is why you find so much differences between human beings. uh, it is astounding that how a person looks at a particular object, a particular um, person, how he judges is completely different from the other person, depending on his samskaras. So understand that you need to interpret this world in the right way. Who tells you to interpret this world in the right way? Until you take the support of Shastras or realized men, we interpret it in tremendously perverted ways. I can't explain you how perverted our understanding of this world is. So next, the Taittiriya Upanishad also speaks about the 5 levels of cosmic existence. As I said, this is the right hand side level. They are cosmic existence. Okay? Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara. Okay, corresponding to the 5 main individual levels koshas for the macrocosm samashti and for the microcosm vesti are, according to Vedanta, built on the same pattern. Both are built on the same pattern. Okay, there's a constant exchange happening between these 2 levels, whether you know it or you don't know it, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. It happens. See, your food, where are you getting from? Energy, where are you getting from? Outside only you're getting. Your understandings also are getting from outside only. It's not that when you are born, apple was kept, immediately you are recognized this is an apple. Who told you that this is an apple? Your mother itself has told. Who has told her? Her mother. So first you, by normal perception, you understand. Then that knowledge is stored in your mind. And when you see the same object next time, you re-recognize it. Okay. And sometimes, even if the object is not there, there is something called as inference. You infer it that if you see, if your first time you have seen fire burning somewhere, and next time when you just see the smoke, you'll understand, you infer it that there is fire somewhere. So by inference also you get knowledge. Third way to get knowledge is by verbal knowledge. Okay, this is right now I'm giving you knowledge by words. So that where it is coming from your corresponding mental plane only. Okay, don't think it is coming from material plane. So each of these cosmic levels may be looked upon as a kind of vast invisible orbits, okay, around the cosmic divine center, along which each individual soul moves, encountering different objects and getting different types of personal experiences. So you may move in this level, okay, then you may move in Hiranyagarbha level, or you may, if you have higher levels of experiences, then you may move in this particular spiritual level. But understand, you can't just directly hop onto this level. Okay, you should come through this is like a room with 2 doors. Okay, one door you enter by your meditational upasana, prayer, whatever spiritual practice you are doing, you're entering it here. And the next door, you can say that this one door opens, it's like a tunnel, it opens to this particular level. Okay, don't think that you can jump like this, something, it happens like this. These two, whether you like it or not like that, you are constantly connected with these 2 layers. It is like there are pipes, okay, between your individual layer and your corresponding cosmic layer. But these pipes also gets blocked because of your wrong understandings in life. Okay, they are like valves. Okay, so just to explain, this is an extra slide. Functional, how they function. Okay, basically you have understood its utility part, but how, what exactly is the function of each particular level? Just a small sneak peek. So let us start from beneath. Physical level, that is your Annamaya Kosha. What it does, it provides the physical basis to your life. Okay, it all your 5 senses, your uh, sense organs, your autonomic nervous system, all this sympathetic, asympathetic, everything, it provides a physical basis. Material it provides. Vital sheath, what it does, your pranamaya kosha is endowed with the power of action. That is called its kriya shaktiman. It does things. Okay, it is karta aspect in your individual being and controls the gross body. See, one more good understanding is the higher level controls the lower level. So try to reach the higher level. And controls the gross body, vital movements which interconnect the body and mind. So even if you think that, okay, I understand autonomic nervous system, mind also, see, now you're sitting quietly. Okay, you're sitting quietly. You don't want to think, but still thoughts just come up in your mind. Still emotions come up. It is like as though they invade your conscious mind. They barge in. What is making them barge in? It is very strange. Like right now you're sitting, desire should not come. You also don't want to get so much affected by your emotions. You want to just experience some peace. Suppose in meditation, you want to make your mind quiet. But why do thoughts come? Who makes these thoughts come? That is your prana itself, energy itself. Then I'll again we'll discuss later what is the source of that prana also. Okay. So mental sheath is your manomaya kosha, which is controlled by the knowledge sheath. That is the next higher sheath. Your vijnanamaya kosha controls your mental level and is endowed with willpower, icha shaktiman, all mental activities pertaining to knowledge of the external world. So it is here that you say that I want to do it. An instinct comes here. So before doing it, a thought comes. What you say, before we think before doing. Sometimes, most of the times, we don't think because we do it instinctually, like a reptilian brain overpowers your limbic system and your cortex, and you just do it without thinking twice. It is like somebody has overtaken, hijacked your willpower itself, and you are going on in your life by as though you are forced to do this. Okay, basically egoism we call it. See, here your will is bound in egoism. Your will is bound by your motherhood, your fatherhood, your job, your inflated ego basically. Then comes vijnanamaya kosha, knowledge sheath. Okay, which is the agent. It is a decision maker, the karta of your personality, endowed with the power of knowledge, jnana shaktiman. So what kind of knowledge? Is it vidya maya or avidya maya? That is again a discussion by itself. Right or wrong, good and bad, perfect or imperfect, who tells? Do you ask these questions to your mother society, or do you ask these questions to a realized soul, or do you depend on these answers on shastras or some self-help books or an unrealized soul? And it hunts out the object which can give its pleasure. Self-awareness here is where you need to mature yourself. It is called mature ego iti, it is called. It is not dependent on your will. Has become free here. If you have come to this particular level, the will has turned, icha has turned into dhriti. There's a difference between icha, which is a bound will, hijacked will, and dhriti is a free will. Here you can, it is not bound. You wish, if you want to have babies, you have babies. If you want to marry, you marry. Your wish is there. As we had small discussion was there, do we have free will? I said it's a discussion altogether. You have free will if you have come to this particular level. Till that, trust me, you don't have a free will. You are completely bound by your instincts like animals. Then next comes the blissful sheath, that is an anandamaya kosha, which causes us a leaning towards pleasure, self-transcendence. See, usually that happiness you have experienced in your sleep, and that is happiness you are seeking in the outside object. But nobody has told us you should transcend that level itself to experience more happiness. We think that we are get the happiness that we have experienced at bliss, peace that we have experienced in sleep. We can get it in relationships, we can get it in power, we can get it in doing something meaningful in this world. No, you can't. You do get it. As I said, it is, there is happiness everywhere, but it is short-lived. Choice is yours, and there are consequences of short-lived happiness. You become more restless ultimately. So this is also one small diagram. I wanted to just give you a small understanding. So basically, this is alienation. We are alienated from our real nature. So your real nature is that supreme self. Okay. We are all just parts of it. We are like small bubbles in this ocean. We are just pots in this ocean. So we should transcend these spots. So inner self is spiritual alienation. Ho gaya bhai. Abhi we don't have time to think why it has happened. Okay, right now for people like you and me who have not experienced any kind of higher level of consciousness, we need to accept our state of being. Okay, you can't just start talking from a very high pedestal and saying that that is my, nothing will happen. Okay, right now we are bound human beings, our will is bound, we are not completely free from our instinctual life, our emotional life. So we let us understand that right now we are separate at least. Okay, so spiritual alienation and existential alienation. See, spiritual alienation is done for. You already are alienated. Existential alienation. Existence, you're experiencing that I am a individual being. It exists. Hai wo hai, bas hai. Then the psychological alienation and alienation from society also has happened. So what is the psychological alienation? The psychological alienation is basically your two types of ignorance I said. One is Vishaya Ajnana and one is Karya Ajnana. That is your wrong understanding of this beautiful world. That is why you go to science, you go to arts, you go to humanities and try to overcome that ignorance, which is very, very important. Good. Then you read psychology and you overcome your mental ignorance also. Very good. Then you read Vedanta also. This also comes in psychological alienation, what we are discussing right now. Vedanta, don't think it is paragyana, it is apara only. It is apara means lower knowledge only. It is, don't think it is higher knowledge. Okay. So all this alienation you can overcome by your science, by your humanities, arts, and Vedanta. Okay. Then you really start living in Vijnanamaya Kosha. That is an intuitional level. You will slowly have glimpses. Your spiritual life will start. You'll slowly have glimpses of your inner self, of the glory of your inner self. Nobody has told it is so glorious. We have told there is glory in becoming IAS person, in becoming, going to America, making your kids doctors, contributing back to the society. Big books we write on, we need to leave behind a legacy and all these things we talk, but we don't talk about the glory of Atma, glory of spiritual enlightenment. So we need to start understanding the glory of your real nature. Here you will start understanding. When you come to basic egoity, your basic ego, I am just a human being, Baba. I'm not neither a mother, neither a father, neither all this. To be or to have, that's a nice book from Erich Fromm, you can read that. So when you have come to this ego level, then transcendence becomes very easy. Spiritual life becomes easy. You have overcome unconscious level. Unconscious is not supporting you right now. It is telling, no, I want wife only, I want relationships only, I want food only, I want sex only, I want power only. It is literally making us do these things. Okay, when you have overcome the strong will, bound will, hijacked will, you'll slowly start understanding the left hand side of this diagram. So again, society, alienation from society, again unconscious. Because of your selfishness, you have even become alienated from society also. So slowly, when you have come to pranamaya, when you understand service as a way of life, sacrifice as a way of life, you'll start looking people as divine beings. You'll not think them as commodities and start utilizing them, expecting things from them. You'll just respect because they're human beings. The glory of Atma you'll start respecting. The second law of happiness, the degree of happiness associated with each level or sub level is independent of external events. So what does that mean? So just by changing circumstances, just by changing work, just by changing the objects, don't think the happiness involved in that particular level of existence that you are will change. It will not change. The happiness is limited. It will remain the same. So the universe we live in is so complex that it is often called multiverse. Okay, because as I've said, you what basically I meant by it is all this particular, you either live in this level, material level, a pranic level. There are many sub levels. Then there is Hiranyagarbha. There are again many sub levels. Depending on your at what level you are living in, it is called multiverse. Okay, it's just a term. In a full, it is full of discontinuities and mysterious physical constants, many of which have been discovered by modern science. So many physical laws, fundamental electromagnetism, gravitational, for weak forces, for strong forces. All these particular laws, physical laws in physics you have studied. There are biological laws in biology you have studied. There are laws in humanities. When you study humanities, you'll start understanding socialism, psychology. Many laws are there. Okay, you have studied all this, and it is wonderful to study those things. So there are physical constants, like there are constants, there are laws. You can't say that by not following you'll still reap the benefits. No, you'll not reap the benefits. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, which remains constant, however much may be the quantity of heat supplied. 100 degrees means whatever heat you do, it will boil at 100 degrees only. It doesn't mean that you add more heat, you boil more. It does not work like that. The movements of electrons within an atom are restricted to certain shells, each with a definite quantum number. That particular energy in that particular orbit has particular quantum number only. You just by saying that no, please have more energy, I want to store more energy, it does not work like that. Then you need to go to the next higher level. The inner worlds of man is also full of discontinuities and constants, with the all-pervading Brahman as the only continuous and unchanging substratum. So only this light of consciousness is pervading through all these discontinuities and constants. Okay, so one such constant is your degree of happiness. Okay, that is one constant associated with each level or sub level of consciousness. So if you are in material level, how much happiness that chocolate will give, that much only it will give. By changing the chocolate, by eating Belgian chocolate, African chocolate, it does not change. By changing jobs, it does not change. Happiness does not change. No. If I become a doctor, there is more happiness. If I go to a field and plow and pull the grass, there will be less happiness. It does not work like that. Okay, as long as we remain at a particular level of consciousness, we can get only its specific degree of happiness, and we cannot increase this by any external means, whatever be the type of work he does or the circumstances he's in, or the financial success, or the people in our lives. No, if I have 4 wives, I'll get more happiness. It does not work like that. Okay, work does not create happiness. We need to understand work does not create happiness. It only brings out the happiness that is already within. So work basically removes the obstacles to happiness. Okay, work as such does not give you happiness. So you can, by understanding this, you'll be not affected by competition, rat race, and all these things. Realization of this truth will make a student a better student. He will no longer study only to pass his examination or secure a job, but also for the joy of knowledge. Okay, that level that you will be coming to Manomaya Kosha, the joy associated with research, with science, with art, social humanities, that joy you'll be able to experience. Then just for working for money, some name, fame, it will make a doctor, an engineer, a businessman do his work not only for the sake of earning money, but also for the joy of doing it. That is a joy he's experienced at a particular level. What work you do actually does not matter. In fact, the more higher happiness you get, work becomes more creative. Even if you're cleaning your room, you will clean it creatively. The happiness by cleaning the room is the same happiness you get even while, if you have reached a higher level of consciousness, I'm telling, if you are existing at a higher level of consciousness, that happiness that by just cleaning a room, that same happiness, the happy person doing a surgery, hitting 6 balls, 6 sixes, that same happiness you may get it. But the concept behind it is, since you are getting, you're in higher level of consciousness, happiness is coming from there, not your work. Okay, so now coming to the third law of happiness, that is, in order to get higher degrees of happiness, one has to bring about corresponding changes in one's consciousness. So what does this mean? Same thing, we have discussed this in the first diagram, but just to again put it in words. The question also yesterday at last, Amma had asked that how can we directly jump to the next level of consciousness? Is it possible? That is the goal. That is ultimate goal. The proximate goal is, first you need to resolve all the issues in that particular level of consciousness. You need to live an optimal life, a holistic life. It is like you have strong pain in your legs and you want to meditate. Can you meditate? No. First, resolve your Annamaya Kosha. Make sure there is no pain there in your legs. Make sure you do some asanas, get that flexible body, then sit. Then only you'll be able to live in higher levels of existence. Otherwise, that will bring you down. वो खींच के लेके जाता है वहां पे, ठीक है? So there are many things that we have to resolve. That is a different discussion of its own. Our normal consciousness is limited to the sense bound world, uh, as we experience it in everyday lives. Ordinary senses cannot reveal any other state of human or divine existence. It cannot, it just cannot. It is bound by its samskaras, it is bound by its habits, it is bound by physical limitations itself. Okay, if you have not developed buddhi, if you have not developed medha, if you have not developed dhriti, these intuitional faculties itself have not come up, you cannot experience these higher levels of consciousness. First we need to develop them. If we want to unravel the mysteries of higher levels of existence and spiritual joys connected with them, they can be obtained, they cannot be obtained all of a sudden by some jump, quantum jumps. The only way is to transform your eye consciousness. See, transformation is what you need in your meditation sessions. It is not some temporary happiness that you're expecting. Transformation, that is why spiritual life is called revolution. It is not called evolution. Evolution, Swamiji says, even a stone will get liberated one day. Uh, but spiritual life, yoga, is a conscious evolution. That is why it is called revolution. And in revolution, all your life there is pain involved. Has any revolution taken place without bloodshed till now in our history classes? Whenever we read history, not even a single revolution is taken without bloodshed, without pain involved. So tremendous conflict will be there. Spiritual life is a life of conflict, because you are constantly trying to overcome your habitual instinctual nature. So naturally there will be tremendous pain. Acceptance and living in that pain and overcoming pain should be there. That is why they say struggle, struggle, struggle. Move, go forward, go forward, go forward. Struggle. Swami Yatishwarananji Maharaj, my guru's guru, a nice book is there, Meditation and Spiritual Life. So he used to always say to the brahmacharis, the sannyasis, which used to come for advices, he used to always say struggle, 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 struggle. Why 3 times struggle? Struggle in your mental plane, struggle in your physical plane, struggle in your there is struggle in your mental plane, and there is struggle in spiritual plane also, till we have reached that supreme ultimate truth. Okay, so constant conflict is always there in spiritual life. Don't try to ignore it, try to face it. Face the brutes, Swamiji used to say. Facing the brutes is not going and fighting outside for your country. Okay, that is good enough, protect your country and all those things. But real struggle is your inner struggle. That is where you need to face your brutes. That is why people don't like to meditate. When they sit for meditation, samskaras come out. They start understanding the real reptilian samskaras they have, then they just want to run away from it. That is why we always need people for validation, we always need work for our existence, because this conflict we want to run away from, we want to run away from the unknown. As we have seen, the man has 4 dimensions. The lowest is the Vaishwanara, or the sense-bound ego, as I said, Vishwa, your material and your physical existence, which animates the gross physical body. I have explained this. Higher than this is the Taijasa. I told you, Taijasa is your mental plane. Dwelling in the Vijnanamaya Kosha supports the subtle body. So it is here where basically your spiritual life starts from. See, Taijasa is also your dream body, you can say, or your mental body. So basically, why they say Taijasa? Who in your dream? Oh, light ka? Who is there a light in your dream? Okay, when you are waking state, you can see the sun. You'll say, because of the sun, I'm able to see the person in front of me. But in your dream state also, you're seeing people, you're experiencing the same emotions. How come? So Taijasa, there is light. That light is not an external light. That is light, your intrinsic, your very nature is light. Okay? Higher still is the prajna, which is identical with the causal body. This also is under ignorance itself, but understand it, that it is very close. It causes your mental and physical body. Even if you come to this level, it is a great achievement in human life. In the last and the highest dimension of the self is known as Turiya. That is, you have crossed your egoic levels only. You have crossed all the your Vishwa, Taijasa, and causal body also, that is Prajna. You have crossed your waking state, you have crossed your dream state, you have crossed your sleep state also. You have Now there is nothing called as body for you. There is, in fact, there is no division between all these. These divisions are good for us because we are looking from bottom up. We need to learn like this. From the known to unknown we should go. But as you go up this Jacob's ladder, as you go up this higher levels of existence, all these boundaries starts disappearing. You will just, that is why it is called non-dual. There is no duality. You can't say I am different, reality is different. You are truth. See, you are spirit. You are not able to experience the spirit because you are overly identified with your ego, with your expectations, with your attachments, with your desires. So in the last and the highest dimension of the self, known as Turiya, the distinction between the individual and the cosmic itself is lost. This entire diagram just vanishes. What is. Okay, again, it is a huge discussion by itself. What is the experience of such a statement called Turiya? It is like, see, in your dream state, can you experience waking state? Yes or no? Can you tell me this answer by unmuting yourself? While dreaming, can you experience the waking state? I'm asking you.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
In your sleep state, can you experience your dream and waking state?
No.
That we are clear, right? Has anybody experienced while deep sleep, waking state and dream state? Okay, waking state has he experienced while he is sleeping, deep sleep? Yes or no? Can he experience it? In deep sleep,
Yes.
can a person experience waking state? Can he experience this
No.
interaction with his family members?
No.
Yes,
No.
the answer
No.
is no. Okay, be very clear in this. It is a practical observation. It is not some intellectual speculative discussion that we are doing it. In dream also, you are not experiencing waking state because you're dreaming. Okay, in sleeping state, you are not experiencing dream, neither waking state, because you are detached from those states. Okay, you are in a particular state of existence which is called sleep. In sleep, mind itself functions, it is almost tired and it's almost like non-existent. Okay, so it can't experience itself other states. So similarly, there is a fourth state. Okay, just because we have experienced only these three states doesn't mean that only these three states exist. Okay, there is a fourth state which the sages have experienced. That naturally, if you, by this particular logic, if you go, when you're in that state, these states don't exist. There's no waking, there's no dreaming, there's no sleeping. There is what it is called. That is your non-dual, your permanent, your non-contradictory, pure happiness. Bhuma, not alpa. It is infinite. So that is the goal of spiritual life. Only there, when we go and reach, we say we'll stop struggling for happiness, because that is complete by itself. Otherwise, we'll still seeking in material, in physical, in relationships, in comforts, in name and fame, in some mental achievements, Nobel prizes, etc., etc., meaningful life, giving back. We live in these levels only. So the fourth law, as already explained, effort is needed only to remove the obstacles of happiness. Okay. So what does this mean? Happiness is always there. Why are we not able to experience it? Is, as I said, because of our own ignorance, because of our own attachments, our own desires, our own interpretation of this life, perception of life, wrong perception. We are seeking in wrong places. Even if we know, we don't know the path, there's no faith. Even if all these things are there, we have become so compulsive. that even if you want, the faculties are gone. So it is like that working hand story. Two brothers were there. Their parents unfortunately died. Then both were great painters, sculptors, in fact. Sorry. So the one brother said, I will work, Bhaiya, you study. The older brother said this to the younger brother. So he studied, he became one of the greatest sculptors in the world. Then he came back one day and he told, now I have enough money, Bhaiya, you study. You go take up some work. You go study and you follow your passion, follow your dreams. Then he shows his hand. All his life he had done some laborer work. His hands itself had become all uh, atrophied and um, like almost like uh, defunct. So he says, he shows his hands to his brother. Even if I want, I am unable to do, because the very faculty is not there for me. So that is why they say start spiritual life when you are young itself. The more you live in this material plane, the more you become blunt, the more you become gross. You'll not be able to experience these higher levels of happiness, because the very faculty you'll lose. You'll be overly compulsive in life. You'll be overly uh, hijacked by your expectations, desires. That is a side effect. We can't help it. Anyhow, there is a perennial flow of joy in the depths of our being, but we have to put forth effort in order to overcome the obstacles that stand in our way of getting it. Work is needed only to remove the obstacles to happiness, but we seldom work with this idea. We think that work itself is giving us happiness. Work itself, because of work, I'm getting all this name and fame. Because of work only, I'm getting people respect me. Otherwise, nobody will respect me. All these perverted ideas we have. On the contrary, by doing work ignorantly and carelessly, we only create more obstacles. With this idea, if you do know, we inflate our egos, and egos become a great obstacles in that give and take with this universe. Okay, it becomes huge clogs in the walls of this beautiful uh, entity called life itself. And our work often leads to frustration and unfulfillment. It should have led, your work actually should have led to great fulfillment, but at the end of this life, usually we experience this particular frustration. NUI it is called. The best way, and for the majority of people, the only way is to destroy all selfishness, is to work for others. So that is why they prescribe selfless work, to serve one's fellow men. Work is necessary to break the prison walls existing around the self and liberate the damned up bliss within. But we need to work with this intention in mind, that I'm working for freeing up my will, for making my ego mature, not for some name and fame or some kind of. Usually it happened, there is this incident that Latu Maharaj, is called Swami Adbhutananji Maharaj, direct disciple of Sri Ram Krishna. Few foreigners came to him. He is a shepherd boy. Okay, he absolutely has, his parents died when he was just 3 years old. He worked as a servant boy for a doctor. Then he met Sri Ramakrishna. So he is absolutely uneducated, but because of Sri Ramakrishna's grace and serving him devotion, he has attained the highest spiritual state that is known to man. So a few foreigners, they are Red Cross, from Red Cross they had come, few ladies. They said, Swamiji, you'll be always sitting in some, you used to always go to one paper mill, and he used to go and sit in one some corner on this paper stack somewhere in one some dungeon. He used to always go and sit there. So why you go and sit there, Maharaj? In that you need to live in this society, you need to give back, you need to help people, you need to build hospitals. So many people are suffering, freedom struggle is going on, participate in the freedom struggle, being enlightened. Why do you go and sit there in this corner? So this of course, the question here is why you should. So the answer he gave is uh, basically we also understand life like that. That oh, I have got this skill. Now let us go back and start giving it to everybody. See, when you do this, he said this answer to the few ladies that had approached him. See, when you are doing it and when you're not getting back anything, slowly expectation creeps in. Okay, I'm always working for these people, but why am I still feeling unsatisfied? So don't think it is so easy to work without expectation. We talk big. Oh, I'll work without any expectation. I'll work selflessly. I'll work. It's nice, big words, beautiful, decorative words, but selfishness will creep in if you're not enlightened. Selfishness, expectation will creep in. Okay, it is, you do this for a long time, then you'll understand it. It is, I can't explain you without, if you are not experienced this in your own life. So unless you do it from an enlightened plane, that is, I am a spirit. Spirit does not have any kind of it is causeless, it is intentionless, it does not have any intention, does not have any expectation. Until you have some awakening, it is very difficult to work selflessly. That is why when they say that when Jung, Carl Jung, the disciple of Freud, said that uh, everybody says that work consciously, work consciously. See, this work consciously concept is also very tricky. Okay, when your parents advise, when any spiritual masters advise, consciously do your work, beta, consciously do your work. Parents will tell this. Of course, you're doing consciously. Right now, are you reading English unconsciously? You can't read it. But you're not conscious of consciousness itself. Basically, when any spiritual books say work consciously, or in Zen, when they say mindfulness, it's not about you should be mindful of the spirit. That is where they want to point out, but it's difficult to get this point. I just wanted to point out what they actually mean, that what mindfulness means, what conscious working means in spirituality. Secondly, there's a creative urge in all of us, and work is necessary for its expression. Cosmic energy is flowing in and through us, flowing in and through us, rousing our samskaras, latent impressions of past actions and experiences. And these force us to work. So you don't ever think that I can sit quietly. The cosmic eln cannot be stopped. It must only be directed in the right channels through creative work. Work is thus a constitutional necessity. See, you can't stop energy. Energy is there in this universe. Prana exists. If you, we are all small, like knobs in this entire scheme. It is like we are small organs, like maybe you may be a heart, I may be a bladder, the third person may be the kidney, the fourth person may be the liver. So we are all these parts. Okay, if you are a kidney, do the kidney work. If you are a heart, to do the hard work. We are just like small wheels in this huge clock. So clock is rotating, you are also one small wheel that rotates. So when you say, when you become selfish, when you become egoistic, and you will say that no, I am rotating and I need recognition for my rotation. I am the heart, I'm the most important person, I need recognition. So all this selfishness, basically, when this happens, you will become perverted. Wrong understanding will come, and what the body does it, what we do if the heart stops working, we replace it. Even mother nature is like that. She will give you enough rope for your nonsense, but if you don't follow her laws, don't think that she will bend to your laws. You should bend to her laws. She will just replace you. She's ruthless. Don't ever think that she's only kind, blissful with two hands. She has swords also in her hands. So work is a constitutional necessity, but work, you should understand in, that is why they say, what is a purpose in life? Try to understand your purpose and don't try to expect rewards to that. Just do work for work's sake. Raise your levels of consciousness. Happiness exists. All you have to do is remove the obstacles. A man can live without any work only when he has to, when he's, because that is the goal of spiritual life, when you want to just get out of this so-called law of karma itself. But when he can get out, he can get out of this samsara chakra only when he's totally free from selfishness and has succeeded in directing that cosmic energy into higher spiritual channels constantly. He has found out a way by right life, by nitya karma, and by reading Vedanta, overcoming the 3 types of ignorance. His delusions have been overcome. He has become mature. Only such a person alone can live an exclusively contemplative life. So water does exist in the canal. What is the use of you then? If everything mother is taking, see, it is like autonomous nervous system. If everything the autonomous nervous system is doing, then where do you come into picture? Where does work come into picture? The ego comes into the picture, the work comes into the picture in removing that embankment. Then water comes into your field. Happiness exists. Remove the obstacles to happiness, removing your greed, hatred, jealousy, vanity, all the shadripus. When you start removing with self-effort, happiness exists, it manifests. So last law, let me wind up. There is an urge in all human beings to seek higher forms of happiness. It is an teleological principle. Okay, it is, you can't say that I will stop evolving. That is not possible. So in every human being, there is an urge to seek higher forms of happiness, which finds expression in the pursuit of truth, goodness, beauty, and finally in mukti or liberation. Okay, it happens whether you like it. It's like, can you sleep forever? I want to sleep forever because I at least live in causal place, in blissful plane. But can you sleep? Nature forces you, get up. You can't sleep even if you want to sleep. Can you say that no, my wife will always listen to me, I'll always have perennial marital happiness? No. You must you are all married people, most of them. You know what happens in marriage also, how much compromise will be there, how much you need to resolve your issues. All this is there. Even initially it looks very nice and blissful, you'll understand that it is still limited. Known as a value of fulfillment or search for meaning, this universal urge lies at the foundation of science, social service, and art and religion. Even religion, understand, for mukti and liberation itself, in India religion was there. It was not for some kind of speculative curious understanding of higher levels of truth and all. To overcome existential problems, only spirituality has come into picture. It is this undeniable psychological evolutionary urge that distinguishes man from animals. Man has a hierarchy of needs, and correspondingly there exists different types of happiness. So the levels of happiness we have seen in the second chart. Hindu scriptures classify happiness into 4 main grades. The lowest one is Vishaya Sukham, material happiness, pleasure derived through the senses. Your as I told you, this type of happiness is rationed by your karma and your basically hard work, and it is also rationed by your mind. Even though you get, by you worked hard, you have earned all the money, but your mind is gone. You have become you got dementia or something. Can you enjoy what you have earned? No. It's two things come into picture. This invariably is a discontinuous experience. So as I said, the example, it's a discontinuous. Even there's so many variables involved. Any sense experience pushed beyond a certain limit leads to satiety. That is why you can't experience the same thing for longer. You need so much variety. This world is full of varieties. You can live in this multiverse of Vishya Sukham itself. Compulsiveness, when you go on experiencing the same thing for a long time, compulsiveness comes in, you become dependent on it. If you don't get what you want, you become frustrated, and sometimes even revulsion and restlessness. This also you must have seen in your marriage life. Sometimes even in friendship it happens, forget marriage life. You can't stay with a person by if you don't grow. That stagnation itself will become so revolting. Restlessness, see, as I told you, you may have experienced high levels of happiness when you take cocaine or any kind of drug, or I'm giving an extreme examples. In Vedanta, we give extreme examples. So that the point is driven very clearly. It's not that you should go and experience it. So what happens is, of course, you get that kind of Atma Sukha. But what are the side effects? You become a nervous wreck. You become a defunct. You become you break down nervously. So that is you become more restless than you were. Higher than sense pleasure is Bauddhika Sukham. We have seen the joy that you experience by research, the joy you experience by selfless. Selfless here, self is ego, okay. That less means it has become mature. That is why it's called selfless. And the basic devotional exercises, intellectual joy you experience. When through long practice, the senses are brought under control, one experiences great peace, kind of pure delight that is undisturbed by the vagaries of mind and the changes of external objects. As I said, changes of external objects here is rationed by your law of karma. Vagaries of your mind is the very nature of mind is contradictory. Today your mood is nice, everything looks nice and happy-dory, but later when the mood is bad, everything, even if the best of things, appears gloomy and is therefore continuous and long lasting. So when you have controlled your senses, in Vedanta, mind itself is a sense. When you controlled your mind and your external senses, the happiness is non-dependent, it is continuous and long lasting. This is the joy of self-control, Shamasukam. Last, followed by Atma Sukham and Brahmananda. See, till self-control, Shama Sukha, my Guruji used to tell me, it is possible by all human beings. That is, make sure that you struggle for that, okay? Atma Sukha, Brahmananda, it is wonderful if you struggle. In fact, he says you come there, naturally, the evolutionary urge, that L itself pushes you to experience this. See, if you have come very near to the ocean, naturally walking a few steps is not so much difficult for you because you have overcome the unconscious. There's no inner resistance. You have overcome that resistance. You have overcome your conflict, basic conflicts. So followed by Atma Sukham and Brahmananda. Until a man experiences the supreme bliss, he can never remain satisfied in life and avoid the struggles, direct or indirect, for its attainment. Trust me, you'll be always trying to struggle and experience happiness in some of the levels. You can't avoid it, but only you can avoid it when you have come to this particular level. That's what are their discoveries. And I've put it across. We'll end here. So if any questions are there, you can ask. Thank you for listening. Namaste.
Thank you. Yeah, any masters? Yes, Parmeshwaran, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Matsugam to Tatsugam. Really, the last sentence only, yes. Man, I think we never have satisfaction. Knows when you go for satsang and all that almost as, yeah. Theoretically, you can say, yeah, you are reached nothing, you are reached that. That is the only thing, please, Ananda. Listening is wonderful, but when you go back home, again, you are back, as you said, we keep on changing the levels. Yes, that is the real truth. You put it so clearly, atom by atom, I can say. And only you are telling about, even Krishna says only 1 in millions or billions only become enlightened. But today we often listen, he is an enlightened person, he is a realized soul, like that. We see so many different levels, but we see also people, because we are at different levels of consciousness, we are operating. Now, when I see you and when I see someone else also, so start comparing and seeing, oh, whether this is right or that is that. Has he reached this level? Has he reached that level? Like that. So as you have been telling, all people want suddenly that. So quantum jump will not happen is the clear message you have given, right?
Yes.
So that is one clear point. So
Yes.
if anyone is thinking that, oh, I can hop up and jump, no.
Okay. It brings you down.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I have seen last 20 years. Plus, I quit the job at 50. Of course, I was not as lucky as you are to start straight away from my charity life. So from 50, I quit the job, as you were telling, in frustration. Work alone was not giving me joy. So though materially I was going to lose all the difficulties, but from inner call, I quit the job. But even yesterday, I was talking to someone else, another yoga teacher and all that. How did you manage these 25 years? I don't know, honestly. It is happening.
Yes.
So materially, I not suffered after that.
Yes.
In fact, while working, I have had more problems
Yes.
than today. Today, I'm financially also independent. Everything is happening like any other family. And as you said, we cannot keep, but why I'm sitting in front of you all?
Yes.
Because that gives something,
Yes.
right? I think a guru only can pull you up. All others only will pull you down, they say. So this is what I have been understanding and telling whomever,
Yes.
we meet like this.
Yes.
So
Wonderful.
you have made it so clear. And about the enlightenment and self-realization people. But each behave, work differently.
Yes.
So how do you say really a master is fully realized soul? If it is so, as you said, now a person sitting in a corner in a paper, shop or whatever it is in a corner. So that we don't find today, very, very
Yes.
rare.
Very. You can't find. I itself just found one person. It is so extremely, and even if you find, never think that they'll come and help you, they'll come and guide you. It does not work like that. In fact, when you need a guru is when you is only when you have resolved your psychological issues, when you have come to that level of ego-iti, when you have come to Pratyek-Atman Darshan, when you have come to self-realization, that is where you take sannyasa. That is where that is called pravrarjika. It is an inner journey. That is where you need a guidance. You don't need guidance to resolve
Day-to-day life issues.
Vishya Ajnana and
Yeah.
Karya Ajnana. Vedanta you can read. First be established. Only they say in the last life you'll get a guru. Usually they say that, but again that's a discussion. But gurus don't feel so. At least whatever is in our hands, let us resolve that. And by the very state of your resolved mind, gurus come and help you. It works like that.
Yeah. And see, now I was talking to a person just 2-3 days back. I met a lady, last 25 years. She said she had a Kundalini experience and all that. And she has been doing Puja Bhakti Yoga. She is following it 100%. She just takes only a coconut water daily last 20, ever since, I think 18 years back or something, she was telling. So physically, yes, she has transcended, but I don't know. Even when she was talking to me, she was telling, the Kundalini experience others cannot understand is fine. But even now, when I went, in fact, she was sitting in the puja room and closed door. Even now, see, the Kundalini was really difficult, whom I can tell. So that energy flow and all that she was telling. So that is one type. And another, I talked to another person. He's still in the day-to-day life. Everything is going on. He also said he had a good experience years ago, and he is happy man, etc. But he says in a different way. So you have to go through that processes. When awakening happens, you may the excess of energy flow, you will get affected, etc. That is one. And in our own group here, another soul came, and she expressed so wonderfully. She did not express so much. Only even while working, some experience happened. Then it took 2-3 days to settle down, and of course now become more creative, as you said, pure. It's all happened. So how do you compare all these things? How you can say what is self-realization?
So like as you said, all these things, it is true. Okay, they exist.
Yes.
But it's not that they are lying or something.
Yeah.
It is true. They have such experiences. I've seen people, but let us understand it in a more simplistic way, because that is how I understand it. See, mother saw a beautiful procession going for Chaitanya when she was in Puri, Holy Mother, Shri Sharda Devi. So she said, oh, all these children of God are so devoted to him, everybody will be liberated. Everybody, sabko mukti mil jayega. Then again, she rethought her sentence. No, no, no. Everybody will not be liberated. Only the devotees who have nirvasana, they will be devoted. So let us understand this in a in this particular dimension, that if your will is free from your instinctual life, then you are liberated. Let us, you only can be, you know yourself. There's nothing to prove here to that I am a liberated soul. That is not our goal here. Free, that sukha is intrinsic. When you tap it, you know it. You don't have to prove it to anybody. All you have to do is, if you meet a realized soul, get it validated. That is why even if these Sukha, even his father was Vyasa, he got it validated from Janaka. He went and got it validated. That he made him take a glass of cup, and he made sure that he didn't spill it. So he got it validated. It's good to get, but get validated from these. You'll understand it. It's not that so when you really feel it, you know it. So basically, I'm telling you, the easy's will, hijacked will, has it become free from any kind of emotional, instinctual life? That is where I judge it. I try to understand it in this way, because Atma by nature is free. What is bound? Your will is bound. Your willpower is bound. You can't do. So the more so that is why people, advanced spiritual souls, they have achieved Shama Sukha. They have got control of senses. Then when they have come to that level, it is understand that Sri Ram Krishna used to tell that dawn has come. It is very the sun to rise is just around the horizon. It's like that.
Thank you. Really enlightening. 4 days just like that. No. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Masters, anyone would like to have any queries or doubts or experience, share their experience?
Even this Shankaracharya and Ramanuja, Ramanujacharya, as you said, like mother, he was giving initiation to all from the top of the temple. He said, what I got, let all get it. But how many got it is again, right? I think same example.
Exactly.
That's what I understood now.
If our utensils have holes in them, even if they give, we can't retain it.
Yeah. You get only an ounce or carry big drum. Nice.
Thank you for an answer. Yeah.
Because all these great, just by saying Sukha, just by saying Tattvamasi, then all these great saints, a few rishis in our Upanishad, they were just told this: you are Brahman. Once this Sukha was told, he got enlightened. 10 times this Upamanyu, I feel, was told 10 times. He was realized. We have been listening to these Mahavakyas from time immemorial. Why are we not getting realized?
Yeah, exactly. This true.
Because our ignorance is so thick.
Yeah. And also you said, okay, without yoga, when you have leg pain, you cannot go for simply enough. This is what exactly I was also sharing with my friends around here. Stiram Sukham Asanam, Patanjali, what he said. That's all he talked about asana, nothing else. Because unless you are stable and steady, comfortable, you cannot proceed further. The energy itself will not flow, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So whereas people say, oh, why do you teach Bhakti Yoga all here? We are only happy with Anapanasati, watching breath. But are you really meditating or sleeping?
Exactly.
This is the question I got years before when I went to Pyramid Valley and all that, and people sit for hours.
Yes.
I started asking myself.
Yes. No doubt.
That's why all these are needed. We have to go
Yes.
through, then
Yes,
only
we have to go through.
we really
No.
understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
A spiritual life is a life of conflict. That is why they
Yes.
don't want to like take it up consciously.
Yeah.
Continuously living in constant states of conflicts. It's like tug of war. The lower
Yes.
is pulling you down, your higher mind wants to pull it up. It's always that.
True. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, no hobby here, only courage.
Yes.
Spirituality is only for courageous people.
Yes. No doubt.
Really inner courage.
Definitely.
So
Thank
nice.
you for permission, sir. Masters will go in quick 5 minutes meditation. Close your eyes, clasp your fingers, cross your legs. Slowly start observing your natural breath. Relax your body. Relax all parts of your body. Just observe your breath, masters. As your breath is the only torch to show the path for your soul. It will take you to the right path. Don't worry, just relax and be with your breath. If every path has a struggle and struggle and struggle, let us all understand how to embrace it joyfully. And liberate our ignorance to move from one consciousness level to another level, as there is no quantum jump. So embrace the struggle joyfully and experience it to turn this knowledge into wisdom. So masters, be with your breath. As it is the only way to know what is right for yourself. So, Masters, no more words, no more disturbance, just your breath and you. Masters, slowly come back to your physical senses. Try to connect back to your physical form. Slowly rub your palms. Gently keep it on your eyes. Have a smile on your face. Slowly open your eyes. If you wish to be in the meditative mode, be with it. Gratitude to all the masters here, the entire universe. And I thank Master Chaitanya for accepting the invitation and being here for this session. Thank you. Thank you, Masters. This is the last session for this. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Ashok sir, you can stop the recording. Thank you.